Yo, what is going on, all you politically incorrect Bill Cosby enthusiasts? Today I'm going to be ranking all of the Black Ops 2 assault rifles. Now, what is an assault rifle? Well, an assault rifle is just a goddamn rifle, alright? I don't really have to explain that. I think everyone watching this video knows what an assault rifle is. And if you're watching this video, you most likely like, Black Ops 2. You enjoy Call of Duty Zombies such as myself. So, anyways, I'm going to be ranking the Black Ops 2 assault rifles from worst to best, and the criteria for these assault rifles is actually just my opinion on them and, what I think of them, and just my overall preference, but also I am going to be ranking these assault rifles off of whether or not they are statistically viable or not. So for example, something like the SMR is probably going to end up last. Meanwhile, something like the AN-94 is probably going to end up being the best one. Anyways, let's get into this shitty list, shall we? Alright, so coming in at the worst assault rifle is going to be the SMR. The SMR, you saw this coming. This gun is terrible. If you've ever played Black Ops 2 and you got this gun from the box, you would immediately trade this out for something else. You would trade it out for a goddamn pistol if you could. This assault rifle is a lousy excuse of an assault rifle. This should be considered like a paintball gun or something. This is not. This thing just isn't lethal. I swear to God, it is not. The bullets in this gun are, it's like a 22. This gun is not a gun. This is a napkin is what the SMR is. I don't know who or why anyone would use this gun, and even when you pack-a-punch it, it takes so many bullets, and I mean, I guess you could make the argument that you have a lot of ammo, but a lot of that ammo is going to be spent shooting a zombie in the head 20 times before it dies, so this gun really isn't viable. I would not recommend using this gun. Anyways, yeah, the worst assault rifle in Black Ops 2 Zombies by far. Now, the assault rifle that barely managed to actually get past that worst spot is going to be the M14. The M14, the only reason I would actually consider myself using the M14 over the SMR is for two reasons. One, it's a wall gun, and it's actually pretty cheap. It's 500, and it actually does get the job done for a wall gun that costs 500 points. And second off, you can buy ammo for it off of the wall, which, if you can buy ammo off the wall for a gun, then I'm already going to consider it better than the SMR, so yeah, that's really the only reason I put the M14 above the SMR here. And also the M14 is actually just, it's more satisfying to use, if I'm going to be honest. The SMR, just nothing about it is fun or good or satisfying to use, but the M14, it's at least fun and satisfying to use. It's not the best assault rifle whatsoever, but it's not the worst at all. It's not. But yeah, M14 is coming in at the second worst gun in this game. Coming in right after the M14 is going to be the M8A1. Now, the M8A1, first of all, I have many problems with this gun. If you know me, you know I don't like burst weapons. I despise burst weapons. I think they're boring. I hate them. Hate everything about them, really. And this gun just looks weird. The design of it is just weird. I don't like it. This is basically a poor man's version of the M8 from Black Ops 3. But yeah, this thing is not good. I mean, I'll take it from the box if I don't have any other gun, but for the most part, I'm gonna try to avoid this gun and just trade it in for something that's actually good. For example, I'll probably trade it in for the Type 25. Now, yes, the Type 25 is better than the M8A1 in my opinion. Despite having less ammo than the M8A1, it does deal a bit more damage from what I've seen, and also, I just find it more satisfying to use, and it's just, I mean, it's a middle-of-the-road assault rifle. It's not bad, but it's not good. It's just decent. It's a good gun for the early rounds, but I don't know why you would actually, consider pack-a-punching this thing, because even when you pack-a-punch this thing, it's not very good. And also, the recoil on this thing makes me want to hurt a child, so yeah, there's that. Coming in right after the Type 25 is going to be the Colt M16A1, or just the M16 for short. Now, the M16 is actually a wall buy in this game. It's on Transit, and I don't think it's on any other maps, actually. Is it only on Transit? No, it's on Buried too. I know it's on Buried, and it might be on Die Rise too, but I haven't played enough Die Rise to actually confirm that because I hate Die Rise. But I don't hate this gun. The M16 is actually a pretty good wall weapon, especially for those early rounds. If you need a reliable gun, it's good. And yes, it is a burst weapon, but when you pack-a-punch it becomes fully auto, and it becomes the Skull Crusher, which It's just a badass name. And this gun, genuinely a pretty good gun. We're starting to get into the good assault rifles here, or at least what I consider the good assault rifles, and just the assault rifles I actually like in this game. So the M16, yeah, it's pretty good. Now, something that I might regret doing here is putting the FAL right after the M16. Now, yes, I think the FAL is better than the M16, solely because, again, as I said earlier in this video, these guns are my preference whether or not I like using them, and I genuinely like using the FAL. The FAL is actually, well, first of all, yes, it is a failure of a gun, but second off, it's actually not the worst box weapon, especially when you consider the amount of terrible weapons in this game. The FAL isn't the worst thing in the world. When you pack a punch it becomes a 3-burst weapon, and it's not the worst gun. It is good for those headshots, I will say. And if you get double tap on this gun, you're actually gonna have a semi-good time. You're not gonna have the best time in the world, but hey, you're also not gonna have the worst time in the world. So yeah, that's the FAL for you. Coming in right after the FAL is going to be the MTAR, or however you pronounce this gun. I never knew how to pronounce this back in the day, but the MTAR actually has a decent amount of ammo to keep you going for a while. The recoil is kind of weird, but it's manageable. It's not like the Type 25 where I want to hurt a small child. And I do like the iron sights for this gun. When you pack a punch it, it's actually pretty good. It really is a pretty good gun. I think the only flaw about the MTAR I have with it is the fact that when you compare it to the other assault rifles, it's not the best thing in the world. But it's actually a pretty good alternative, you know, assault rifle if you can't get your hands on anything better. But yeah, that's going to be the MTAR. Coming in right after the MTAR is going to be the AK-47. The AK-47 is actually exclusive to Mob of the Dead, and I figured I might as well rank exclusive weapons on this list as well, just to, you know, not clickbait and say, hey, I'm ranking all the assault rifles, and then I don't include the ones that are map exclusives. I'm not going to do that. I have the DLC for Black Ops 2, so I actually can use these guns, and I might as well rank them off of my preference. And the AK is pretty good. It is lacking kind of in the ammo department, I would say, but I actually like this gun. Now, is it as good as something as the M27? In my opinion, no, which, by the way, is going to be our next spot. The M27, it's actually pretty good, exclusive to Nukedown, so we're getting into like the exclusive weapons here. And the M27, just barely better than the AK in my opinion. I just find it more fun to use, feels better to use, and I feel like it does more damage. I'm not entirely sure on that, don't quote me, because I'm not going to dive into statistics here. I feel like that's just a bit boring, but I personally prefer the M27 over the AK-47. That's a lot of 7s, but anyways, we're going to move in to the STG, which again is another map exclusive, except this time it's actually a wall buy instead of a mystery box weapon. And the STG is an assault rifle, alright, don't argue with me on that. The STG somehow is better than the M27 and the AK-47 for me at least. First of all, it carries a great amount of ammo. Second of all, does a good amount of damage, and it's a wall weapon, so you can buy ammo for that at any time you want. The only problem with this thing is that, well, it's on Origins exclusively, and compared to the rest of the Origins weapons, you're not going to be using this often, but you can actually get it for free if you do the challenges on Origins, and it's a pretty good gun, I would say. There's actually some people who stick with this gun all game. Personally, I'm not that kind of person, but I could definitely see why the STG is used all game instead of, you know, just in the early rounds. So yeah, that's going to be the STG. Now, coming in at our very good guns, like we're getting into the really good assault rifles here, is going to be the Galil. Now, the Galil, or Galil, however you want to pronounce it, is a classic. It is an iconic assault rifle in Call of Duty. Black Ops to be specific. This gun started off on Black Ops and was one of the best assault rifles, if not the best assault rifle in the game, and carried on to Black Ops 2. And it was the best assault rifle until, you know, it got replaced by stuff like the AN-94. The Galil is a really good box weapon. If I get this thing from the box, I usually keep it. And when you upgrade this thing, it becomes the Lamentation. The sight it does get when you upgrade it, though, in my opinion, is pretty ugly. But other than that, this gun is great. It deals a significant amount of damage. It has a good amount of ammo to carry you, and it's just an iconic weapon. I love using it. So if I get this thing from the box, chances are I'm going to keep it for a while at least. Moving in right after the Galil is going to be the Scar H. and I love this thing. I love this thing with all my might. This thing is just so fun to use. The Scar H, I mean, look at the gameplay here. I am melting the Panzers on Origins with the Scar. I'm killing like 2 of them. It's just such an amazing weapon. I'm pretty sure this thing can actually one-shot all the way up to round 20 if you one-shot to the head, as long as you have double tap, and if you upgrade it to the badass. You wanna know what this thing is called? It's called the Agarthan Reaper. Agarthan Reaper. The Agarthan Reaper, that's such a badass name, come on. The Agarthan Reaper, just so goddamn menacing. Anyways, this thing is awesome. I love the Scar H. I wish it was on more maps, but Origins honestly is a perfect map for it. I love the Pack-a-Punch camo on this thing. Everything about this gun is perfect. One of the best assault rifles in Call of Duty Zombies history. Probably my personal favorite, but you know what else is one of my personal favorites? Well, it's gonna be the AN-94, which is the best assault rifle in this game, undeniably. You could argue that the Scar H is better, but here's the thing with the AN-94. The AN-94 is a wall weapon. It's a fucking wall weapon. See, the Scar H on Origins, it's a box weapon, but the AN-94 is a wall weapon. Therefore, you can buy ammo for this at any time you want, and it also... I'm pretty sure it also has more ammo than the Scar H, maybe. Don't quote me on that. It has around the same amount or even more, maybe slightly less. But for the most part, it's basically the same. And the damage is awesome for this thing. The damage is, I'm pretty sure it's slightly better than the Scar H. If this thing was on Origins and Model of the Dead, probably the best assault rifle in Zombies history. It probably already is, to be honest. But this thing is just great. When you upgrade it, it becomes the, Actualite, Neutralite, something... 9,000, whatever what was Treyarch thinking with these names? But anyways, the AN-94, the best assault rifle in Black Ops 2 Zombies. I'm pretty sure you saw this coming, but you can't really blame me. The AN-94 is amazing. Every time you play a Victus map like Die Rise or Buried, you're gonna usually end up grabbing this thing. It is overpowered on Buried because you can actually place the AN-94 wherever you want because of the chalk wall buy system in that map. But yeah, this gun is just too good. It is too good for an assault rifle. Anyways, that was my list for, well, the Black Ops 2 assault rifles, and I guess my personal rankings of them. Again, these are my preferences combined with the overall statistics of the weapons. So you are probably going to disagree with like my AK-47 placement, but personally I don't really like it using the AK-47. I don't know, it's just not that fun for me to use. It's a good gun, but just not something I would use. But yeah, that was my list for the Black Ops 2 assault rifles. Let me know what you thought of this shitty list, and I'm gonna go grab an M27 and head down to my local elementary school. See ya.